Hey guys, it's WDA Punisher with part 3 of the Don't Revive Me Bro exclusive interview with Procon creators Geoff and Matt Green, otherwise known as Phogue and Zaeed. And we're just continuing to talk about Procon, Procon 2, meta bands, and some little, backstory behind what Phogue had started when he created Procon and meta bands. So take a listen and enjoy.
It was interesting when things like metabands and Fogue's little VIP hunter-killer plugin came around, that people did start to realise there was a bit more going behind, because they, had a bit more interaction with it by being banned and kicked and all that. So, but most people just don't really have anything to do with it on their side. They just go, jump in the game, play away, and leave, and it doesn't really affect them. They don't care about who runs it or all that.
Now, the BF3 Cheatometer, is that something that you guys were involved in? Is that another thing that you've built, or is that totally separate? Because I know that it is tied in with metabands.
Nah, it's totally separate from me. I made metabands originally, but I haven't had anything to do with the project about 4 months after it was launched. That's all handled by Cody now. It was
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was it's not really. It didn't really go in the direction that I thought it was going to go in, and yeah, I mean, people are treating it as sort of like an anti-cheat type thing. And I don't actually believe in banning people. I think it's not really. It's crazy that I make a website about bans and everything, but I don't really think you should be banning anyone. Yeah, it just went in a different direction, so I sort of gave up that project. But I originally made that to learn like PHP, to be able to get a job doing something like that in my local town, and that was it.
Oh, yeah. So what? Let me ask you this: so what was your original intent with Metabit?
It was, say, players. Like, it's very right now. It's very oriented towards server admins. Administering their servers, but what it was supposed to do was be a way for a player to go in and generally complain about another player and say, I saw this guy team killing me on a server or something like that, and he can post an assessment on there and say, if I ever, I don't want to play with this player, and pretty much small communities getting together. But what ended up happening was because it works sort of like a Twitter type thing where everyone can follow each other, it ended up everyone was following each other, and bans would propagate everywhere, and everyone saw it as a way of doing, like ban list sharing over lots of servers. Therefore, it's just like PB bans. It's just like something else where they can publish anti-cheating ban lists. And yeah, if I had my time again, I'd make it so you had to. It didn't work like a following. The contract between two people had to be mutual, like with Facebook. So you had to friend one another, and that way, I think it wouldn't propagate the bans as much if both people had to sort of share each other's ban lists. So it was basically the whole point of it was to make people truly think about who I'm adding to my ban list, and I think that's its fault. Really, is it's another way of propagating ban lists that maybe people on those bans shouldn't be banned.
I know it's me being a server admin that we stream metabands on our server.
Mm-hmm.
But I've made it a point that I was very very peculiar about who I followed. I just didn't want to follow anybody. I wanted to make sure that the people that were, making these bans, that they were, true fans. They were, really hacking. They just weren't good players. But I could see your point in what it's become, because frankly, there has been a backlash against it. There are a lot of people that are against servers that, run metabands, because they think it's unfair, because frankly, there are going to be people that are going to be banned based on them having a good game instead of hacking. I mean, there are guys out there that are just really good at their battlefield. any first-person shooter for that matter.
Yeah, it's
so I could understand.
It's another one of those things that's it's a tool that could have been used well, but unfortunately is being used incorrectly, where everyone's going on there and following everyone, and they probably shouldn't be. They should be looking very carefully at who they follow.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we've done. With our plan and our server, because it's, I don't want to keep anybody playing on our server that doesn't deserve to. But at the same time, I was telling Zaeed, I think that Metabans has become really the only true tool to truly keep hackers off your server, because Punkbuster it has so many holes in it. It's so reactive. I mean, they're basically reacting to what hacks are being put out. It's not proactive at all. Now, let me ask you this, because this is something that I wrote an article a couple weeks ago on the new anti-cheat that Battlefield is going to use. Fair Fight. How is that going to be implemented, if at all?
I don't actually know too much about it. Everything that I've read, which is probably the exact same article that you've read, is it's something that if I had managed to get the information that they had, I wish I'd made it. So otherwise, I don't know if there's going to be any sort of integration, Procon or anything, or how it works. It's I think it actually runs server side, like on the actual game server. So I don't think you need anything to do with Procon.
Yeah, there's something that they've been kind of hush about. They've leaked little details, but they haven't really come out and said anything. I was actually kind of surprised that they didn't have any implementation with it with the beta. But like you said, they had the servers tied down pretty good. So I do like the idea of it, though. I just don't know how well it'll work, because I guess they've already implemented it with. I think it's War Z or Daisy or something, but one of the zombie games that they had. I guess there's still plenty of hackers with that, so.
Yeah, then again, it's just another tool.
But that's interesting. Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to. Well, guys, is there anything you would like to put out to the community that you're willing to put out as some last words for this interview?
Nothing to think of.
No, nothing really. I mean, I'm still not caffeinated well enough to talk, so.
Rent servers and use Procon.
Oh, poor bastards. Yeah, I mean, I've said it a couple of times where Procon was like this little hobby project thing that I wrote while I was at university and ignored for a little while and came back and it was all popular and shit. It's it's still amazing that people use it. Like, it's not, especially if you can code in like C# and .NET. Like, it's not really coded the best. But looking at it, I've been working on number 2, or we don't know what we're going to name it, but sort of the second iteration of Procon, and I mean, we're going alpha with that on the weekend, and hopefully that sort of fixes up quite a few things. It's had a lot more time, sort of just looking at how people are using number 1 and how we can improve that, how we can make plug-in writing easier, support multiple games, all that sort of stuff.
Now, what I know besides the Bad Company 2, Medal of Honor, Battlefield 3, I guess in Homefront was originally what Procon was made for. What other games does Procon support, Kurt?
Number 2, it has very well. It's actually started getting programmed in. And it shows its age when Black Ops came out, Call of Duty Black Ops. So it started getting made in that, and then Metabands actually came out of that because it was just going to be a small part of what Procon 2 was. But I took that and made its own project and ran with that and got bored with Procon 2 for a while. So that's sort of where that was going to start. But then then it started. Then we came back with Homefront, and then I added Team Fortress 2 to it, so it supports Source and Call of Duty's protocols and Frostbite's protocols as well. Whether or not they're up to date, I'd probably have to spend some time on that. So I don't want to say that it absolutely supports these, but it has at one point connected to them. I'd probably need to spend some time on that. But but basic support. If I had to say anything, I'd say very basic support for Call of Duty Black Ops and Team Fortress 2. It can be used over multiple protocols. We've already shown that. It's just probably needs a little bit of loving, which, yeah. But implementing these protocols is the fun part for me. So, after launch and once we've got something that's fairly stable, I'll probably be spending a lot of time supporting new games.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, that'd be good because, get your brand out there to definitely grow it so that it can be used, on all these different programs. That'd be a great thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And for guys like us that like to play multiple games and have that familiarity with the UI already, it'd be good.
Yeah, it's if I'd say that the biggest problem with that is that you don't get as specific controls as you do in Procon Frostbite. It's so with Procon Frostbite, it's very dedicated to obviously Frostbite-based games. So we know exactly what we're getting into. But when you have something that can connect to multiple protocols, you need to sort of have this level of abstraction that a player is, an object that always has a name, always has a score, but we don't know if they have a squad or something like that. At least the user interface is going to be useful for, I'd say, casual to medium type users. It won't be as very specific as what Procon Frostbite is, at least for a Frostbite protocol-based game. But saying that, hopefully you can just load something up and be able to kick people out of all of your games, and be able to manage, groups and permissions and all that sort of stuff for one clan through one tool eventually.
Very nice. Appreciate you guys coming on and talking about Procon. It is really a great tool. Something that I've been using for a while now, and hopefully we'll continue to see, like you said, with Procon 2 coming out, seeing bigger and better things. So.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Cheers.